Hey guys, today we are playing some Kirby. Yeah, this is a childhood game of mine, so it's been a long time coming since I played this. I don't play it enough, honestly. I should be playing this more. But yeah, the purpose of this was really to play Kirby, but I also wanted to do a topic, of course, just simply because it's been more interesting to do a topic than to just play Kirby and bore you all to death with having nothing to say. So, basically, I mean, it's just an excuse for me to play Kirby, isn't it? That's what it is. It's an excuse for me to play a game I've already beat, you know? Because, like, nowadays, like, I'm starting to feel a bit, like, every time I'm playing a game I've already beat, it's like I'm making no progress. I'm like, well, a video game, like, a video is essentially progress in a way, so I'm just like, yeah, I kind of have that mindset nowadays. And, yeah, I can't really get out of that mindset, unfortunately. That's just how it is, unfortunately. But, yeah, the topic I want to talk about today, it has to do with, well, partially the gaming community. Yeah, we all know the gaming community, but also just games in general. And I want to talk about, like, just kind of like the way that people have treated the gaming community, and just to get how the gaming community look at games difficulty, and just kind of like how we have so much smug bullshit in the gaming community. And like, the thing is, like, I'm mainly talking about the Git Good crowd, you know. We're going to talk about them today. Now, I've talked about difficulty before, but that's in a video that people aren't going to probably like take anything away from, because that's talking about difficulty from a design standpoint, and just how like difficulty isn't, like, you know, like difficulty is not necessarily a good thing, which we've already talked about. But I want to talk about the Get Good crowd, you know, the people who make a big issue over like the fact that people play easy mode in games and stuff like that, you know. These people, like, but I'm not just going to be talking about them, I'm going to be talking about other things, but they are going to be, like, a big part of it, obviously. Now, I'm playing Kirby here, which is a game that is notorious for being easy. Like, Kirby games, like, they get a bad rep because they're notoriously easy. Oh, you're playing Kirby? Like, that's a game for babies who can't play, like, I don't know, F-Zero GX, you know? Because in a way, that I can see someone making that argument. It'd be stupid, because the thing is, like, I love F-Zero GX, and yes, F-Zero GX and Kirby Air Ride are very similar. The only difference is that Kirby Air Ride is much more accessible than F-Zero GX, and a lot of people would see that as a bad thing. It's like, oh no, this game is like F-Zero for babies. You know, F-Zero for babies, that's what this is. You know, like, if you really think about it, you could easily see it as that, because it's a game where anybody can play, anyone can pick up and play this game without knowing anything. You know, it's a one-button game, you just use the A button for everything. Like, everything's simple. You know, anyone can pick up and play Kirby Air Ride. But the thing is that you have F-Zero GX. That game is not so simple, because it has different, like, turning buttons. Like, you have a brake, but you have, like, 3 different braking systems. You have, like, the brake, you have, like, the slide, and you have drift, you know? The turning. So you have 3 different turning systems. Obviously, you mainly use just 2, and obviously you just use regular turning, because you never really use the brake. Like, you never use the brake in F-Zero GX, because it just slows you down too much. Like, if anything, you'll use the spin attack to take corners if, like, you need to really slow down a lot, because that's a really good cornering ability as well, and it really does slow you down to a crawl. But you're not going to use the brakes, you know, unless you're, like, on half pipe and you're, like, doing it for the first time and you're kind of, like, terrified and you're scared, you know. But Kirby Air Ride doesn't have any of this stuff. Like, Kirby Air Ride is a simple, straightforward game that anyone can pick up and play, and I think that that's not a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. And, you know, like, Sakurai like, he's known for making Smash Bros. Games, and the Smash Bros. Community are like, they're hardcore, which is kind of ironic, because Sakurai has always, like, he's always given the finger to, like, the competitive community, which I find is kind of interesting, because he's kind of shown that people, like, they all want, like, ow. Because he's kind of showing that people all want, like, they all want to, like, he's showing that people are essentially, I'm just trying not to die. Oh, that was close. God damn it. But he's showing that he doesn't really care about the pro gamer movement, you know, the competitive hardcore gamers that have to like everything has to be like challenging and fair and all. And he gave them all the finger by adding tripping to Brawl, and I found that kind of amusing, and people always bitched about it for that, which I thought was silly. But you know, like, people complained, oh, you added tripping, now it's all luck based and stuff, and it's just like, well, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be luck based, because it means that it's easy enough, you know? It means that it's accessible, you know? Don't you want games to be accessible? Don't you want everybody to be able to play them? You know? Oh shit. I think I'm blowing everybody up with my freaking... Everybody's being blown up. I'm being blown up. There's explosions everywhere. Yeah, this one's a weird one, isn't it? But, yeah, like, I find that there's way too many, like, people that look down on people for playing games, like, that are easy, or playing games that are, on easy mode, and, you know, you'd think that there'd be less people like that nowadays, since, given the fact that we're mostly just adults now, but no, there's still a lot of people, including adults, that still act this way, that still have a lot of disdain, and a contempt, have a lot of contempt towards these people, and it's just like, you know, let's not have contempt towards the gaming community. Let's not have contempt towards gamers who just want to play on easy mode, because, you know, we've got busy lives now, guys. You know, we can't all be playing on the hardest difficulty all the time. We can't all be playing these hard games, and how many blames all these games made by Capcom and, like freaking the Ninja Gaiden community, because the thing about it is that, you know, and obviously Team Ninja for making Ninja Gaiden, because they've kind of changed the goalposts. Because they've kind of changed everything, because they basically turned normal difficulty into hard for no reason. And it's just like, and what did people say when they did it? People were like, they were overjoyed. They're like, yes, take that, noobs. Now you have to play a hard game. You know, it's just like, but how is that a good thing? You know, how can we celebrate people suffering? You know. Like, how can we celebrate people going through a hard experience, you know? And of course, like, when they released, like, the easy mode, when the few people that did complain, obviously fucking Itagaki had to shit on people by making his, freaking, like, Ninja Dog difficulty as, like, a knock against all the people that couldn't beat his game. And it's just like, you know, dude, you are so petty. It's unbelievable. Like Itagaki is, like, just such a petty guy. He really is. And, like, it's just like, he clearly didn't want to add an easy mode, but the thing is, I've already talked about how difficulty doesn't make games necessarily better, and, you know, like, game design isn't really, like, difficulty isn't really something that that ultimately impacts the nature of the game, you know? It's mechanics that are important, not the challenge, not the difficulty, you know? But people seem to think that difficulty makes games better, or people always celebrate when a game is hard for the sake of being hard, instead of celebrating games actually just being good because they're good, you know? And it's just like, you know, maybe we need to start, like, celebrating easy games more for being easy, instead of just only celebrating the hard games. I just don't understand the mentality of people that always have to trash on games that are stupidly easy, like this. You know, games that require no brain power, because they have a place in gaming, you know? It's like people trash on Muso games, but like, and I think the silliest thing are the people that play all the Muso, like the hard Muso games, like Dynasty Warriors 4 and all that lot, and say, oh yeah, Muso games used to be so hard, now they're so fucking easy. But the thing is, Muso games have always been brain dead and stupid. The only difference is that back in the day they were more difficult and you died more. You know, now that you barely ever die unless you fail a mission, because you're no longer having to deal with all the bullshit like staggering from like most of the freaking like regular generic soldiers anymore. Instead, you're just like dominating them easily, you know. And because of that, it's like you no longer have to worry about getting your ass kicked as much. But obviously, people look at that as a bad thing. Oh, Dynasty Warriors is so easy now, it's for noobs. And you know, it's like, it always was a dumb game, mechanically, that required no brain power, no skill to play. It was all luck, no skill. Like, that's what it was. You just mash buttons and hope you didn't get staggered by an enemy. And Muso, when you're about to, or when you get the opportunity, when you're in a bad situation, to get those iframes. That's the whole game. There's not really much else to it, you know? But I've already talked about that in another video. The thing is that I'm just kind of getting sick and tired of these people in the gaming community that just have to constantly trash on people for being bad at games and just like saying, oh yeah, you suck, you know? It's just like, you know, come on. Like, it's almost like being bad at games is like a crime or something. It's just like, why do you care so much? I think the worst of a bunch of the fighting game community, because they have the most contempt for noobs than anybody. I mean, obviously you have RTS, which is also there as well. I mean, let's be honest, RTS games are like they're like the keyboard equivalent of fighting games. Like, instead of using like a fight stick or a gamepad, they use keyboards. But that's it, that's the difference. Like, RTS is basically a fighting game for people who use keyboard and mouse. You know, mainly keyboard only, because, you know, only the hardcore of the hardcores use keyboard only. Of course they fucking do, you know. Because we're so freaking hardcore and imbo that we have to use keyboard only. Yeah. It's like, only the hardcore, yeah. But it's just like, yeah, like, I mean, let's be honest, you're not going to be at a competitive level in an RTS if you're using a controller, are you? And you're not going to be at a competitive level if you're using a mouse for everything, because you need to use hotkeys, so you can essentially, like, have less time using the mouse, you know? That's how you want to do things. But the thing is that, ultimately, like, you don't want to spend a lot of time just, like, doing absolutely, like, you want, oh god, the swerve stance is absolutely dominating everything here. Yeah, we're not going to win this. Swerve Star is just absolutely dominated. Swerve Star AI always does really well in this game, man. They always do. But that star is just insane. But when you're using it, it's really hard to use. Because you have to, like, you have to brake, or, like, you know, like, boost, like, you press A to, like, turn it. So that's the complicated thing. I mean, it's down here. So if you want to try it, we can try it. And, see how well we do with it. It's fast. But you have to do this every time you want to turn, you know? It's a great drag race car, but it's not really the best at, like, certain things. But yeah, it's the Swerve Star. It's a weird one. Really weird one. But if you know how to use it, it's really good. It's really good. Like, its default speed is insanely high. And it can turn when gliding, but it can't turn any other way. The one thing about this game is there's no real balance to the vehicles. Just like F-Zero GX, really. I mean, that game doesn't really have much balance either. But yeah, like, I think people just kind of, like, don't respect easy games. Like, they treat them as an inferior. And Kirby's always been one of those games that's always been treated that way. Like, oh yeah, Kirby's just easy. You know, it's a game for babies. You know. Sucks because it's easy, and that's what people have always been like. And it's like, no, if anything, Kirby's one of the best franchises for me because it's easy. Because it's so easy that I can just play it without having to, like, concentrate super hard all the time, and the fact that I don't get super frustrated playing it makes it one of the best to me, you know? Because I don't want to struggle when I'm playing a video game. I want to have fun. And I know that, I get that video games are supposed to be about, you know, you're gonna win and lose, you know, but the thing is that when it happens so often, it kind of gets aggravating after a while. Like, yeah, sure, you're not always going to win every time, and we all go into games knowing this. But you also don't want to lose all the time, you know? You just want to, eventually at some point, you just want to make progress, you know? And I think for me, it's just kind of like, you know, I don't want to, like, be left behind on certain things, like the story of the game. Like, I want to see what happens, you know? It's like, for example, games like Xenosaga, where, like there's a part in that game which is extremely difficult. And I find that game really difficult. But, like, it's like, I kind of want to know what happens in the story, but I can't get there because I'm stuck on something, you know? And what do I do? Well, I still haven't finished it because, you know, I'm so under level. But what did I do at some point? I just kind of, like, used freaking save states. And I'm not gonna lie, I did. Because it's just like, screw it. I just want to see what happens, you know? I don't... Like, I mean, nothing against the combat. The combat is fine. It's just, I suck at the game, you know? I'm terrible at freaking Xenosaga. And the fact of the matter is, I want to see what happens in Xenosaga's story. I want to see how it ends, you know? So, it's like, yeah, there's reasons why I want to get through it. And eventually people do, but like, some game companies seem to think, like, I'm talking about freaking Itagaki and all that, and all these Dark Souls people, and Miyazaki and all these people, like, they just seem to want to, like, they just seem to want to make people suffer just for the sake of this, like, you know, and the gaming community as well just loves it, they revel in it, and it's just like, they treat these companies, like, that do this with, like, the utmost respect. It's just like, oh yeah, you're being an asshole to gamers, that means you're one of the cool guys, you know? Who doesn't care and doesn't give a fuck. And it's just like, you know, but in reality, you know, these people are supposed to be making games for, like, they're supposed to be making games that people will buy, you know, the commercial products. And, you know, people want to ultimately have something to do when they finish work, you know? And if you're playing a game that is, like, if you're playing a game like that is super hard, then, you know, you're going to be stressed out. And you don't want to be stressed out after work, you know what I mean? You want a chill experience. Like, people, like, one of the reasons why I like Muso games is because they are chill. Because I can just turn my brain off. That's one of the reasons why I like wrestling games as well. They're chill. I can turn my brain off. You know, I don't... Like, they're simple games. They're brain dead, but that's part of the fun. I like brain dead games. I like my mindless beam-ups as well, you know? I like that stuff. I don't always want to be playing a Devil May Cry game where I have to, like, keep up with really tough bosses and be challenged all the time, you know, at, like, max level. I get that video games are all about, like, they're a game, so you have, like, wins and losses, but it's like, I don't want a game that's just constantly difficult all the time. But at the same time, I don't, like, necessarily inherently hate all difficult games, you know? I want people to realize that as well. Like, just because a game is difficult doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but just because a game is easy doesn't necessarily mean it's bad either. I just think people need to start respecting not only games, but people who play easy modes and easy games, you know? Instead of just, like, saying, oh, you're just a scrub, you know? But what does that really mean, you know? At the end of the day. I mean, some games on normal mode are just an absolute pain in the ass. Like, recently I've been playing a lot of games that have just been insanely difficult, and I've just basically just been finishing games that have, like, been an absolute pain in the ass that I played on normal mode, and I'm still playing on normal mode, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not having fun. Like, I'm just not having fun playing them. Now, on the contrary, and this is the thing, I've been playing Urban Ring. Now, as of this moment, I have S-ranked every single mission in Urban Ring, and to do that, you need to play it on the highest difficulty, which is very hard mode, on free mission, and doing that was an absolute delight. I loved doing that. I absolutely adored doing that. So I'm not 100% against difficult games, people. Sometimes having a higher difficulty can make things more fun, sometimes it just makes it annoying. But the thing is that I willingly chose to play on very hard mode. I knew what I was getting into. Whereas when the game is on normal mode and it's fucking hard as balls, you know, I'm looking at you, nearly every Capcom game and fucking Ninja Gaiden and all this shit. It's just like, it's deceptive and bullshit. It's just like, that's when I have issues. It's just like, and yeah, I will blame certain Capcom games that I love. Even Chaos Legion's guilty of this. Like, Chaos Legion's normal difficulty is just ridiculous. Eastleaf and Felghana's normal difficulty is also ridiculous. Even very easy mode is very ridiculous in that game. Like, very easy mode, or like stupidly hard mode. Like, and I mean it. Like, you play very easy and you play normal difficulty, there's no difference. No difference at all. You're still going to have a rough time one way or another, because ultimately the bosses in that game are absolutely fucking as obnoxious and as annoying as possible. And it's like, you can't fucking heal up. And people don't seem to understand how much of an annoyance not being able to heal up in a video game is. Like, even Ninja Gaiden has healing options, but not having an option to heal in a video game is horrendous. Like, there's nothing. Like, it's like, because all it does is it leads you to just restart every time you get hit, you know? And I've seen this in a lot of, like, old school games, you know? Like, games like Castlevania and stuff, where, like, I get hit once, I'm like, you know what? You know, I took a hit way too early here. Like, I should have taken a hit, like, I shouldn't have taken a hit there, so I'm just going to restart. And it just encourages that, and that's not really a way that you want to play your game. It's not fun to constantly restart every time, just simply because if you don't, you're going to have, it's going to take longer to do it, because you're going to have to deal with, like, freaking, whatchamacallit, like, limited continues and all that bullshit. You know, it's just like, I don't want to deal with that. So you're just going to do that, and yeah, like, but like Oath and Felghana and Time Splitters 2 not having any healing items whatsoever in the campaign or in the story really annoys me. Like, Arkham the Pitch Dim had healing items. It did. And that's what made it enjoyable to play, because I could actually heal. And the thing is, healing is actually strategic, because it makes you think, should I use my item now? Or risk being at low health and being hit by a powerful move and losing the rest of my health. You know, there is some challenge in there, in terms of like choosing when the right time is to heal or not. And by removing healing, you're removing that. But also, it just makes things more demoralizing when you do actually get hit. You know, like in Time Splitters, like some of those fucking missions in Time Splitters 2, man. It's like you would get hit and you're just like, I'm just gonna restart because I'm getting hit right at the start of the level, and I have to survive this entire long level with just this one health bar, the whole fucking level. And it's like, no, I don't want to have to deal with that. I really don't want to have to deal with that. So it's like, at moments like that, it's just like, don't you grab that. But yeah, like, in moments like that, you just kind of want to, like, quit playing the game if like the game gets stupidly difficult, and then you'll never get the game done, and it just demoralizes you and makes you feel like shit, you know? Either that or you keep playing the game and you get super frustrated trying to beat it, and it's just like, that's not fun, that's never fun, you know? I play games to have fun, and when they get frustrating, the fun ends, and that's the worst thing that you can do. I'd rather play a boring, easy game than a frustrating game, because ultimately, I play games to relax. Most people do, you know? Most people play video games to relax after work. That's what we play video games to do. People just don't seem to understand this though. They just seem to think that video games are just supposed to be hard for the sake of being hard. No, they're supposed to be fun. And being fun can often mean being easy enough to be approachable, to the point that you can feel like you're a winner every 5 seconds, because people want to feel like a winner. Yeah, sometimes you might lose, but, you know, as long as you're not losing all the time, you know? I want to feel like I'm winning, you know? And not having to deal with bullshit. You know, because I've been playing a lot of games recently which have just been absolutely frustrating as hell. I've not been having fun with it, and it's just like, you know, like going from freaking Urban Reign, which is a game that I really like that's challenging, to Def Jam Fight for New York, a game that I'm not as keen on that's challenging, is an absolute bloody nightmare, because fucking Def Jam, like, the finisher system and everything else, it's all luck, no skill. I swear to God it is. I don't care what anyone says. It is a game that is all about being lucky. Because the fact of the matter is that, like, it's one of those games where if you're not, like, if you're not, like, unable to, like, hit them with, like, a finisher or, like, knock them into a wall, you can't actually finish the fight. You can't actually win unless you actually do that. And that really annoys me. I really hate that. Like, that's one of the things that bothers me. It's just like, oh yeah, like, you've been dominating the enemy this whole fight, and then just suddenly, because you haven't had any opportunity to do the finisher, they will eventually catch up and beat you, and then they'll hit you with the finisher. And the thing is, this can happen at any time, because the enemy can just reverse your, like, ability that you did. And it can be random whether they reverse it or not, so it's just like, you know, it's not like Urban Reign where, like, a lot of it's dependent on, like, certain factors, and, like, you can just reverse, and then you can reverse their reversal and stuff like that. Yeah, there's not like that. It's just like, oh yeah, like, we're just gonna randomly reverse this move, and then we're gonna randomly reverse this move, and then we're just gonna dominate you. Like, Def Jam 5 New York, like, from what I played, just feels like a really random game. It feels like every fight is just all luck, no skill, because all you're encouraged to do is just throw people into walls repeatedly and just, like, bash them into the wall and then rinse and repeat. And that's the best way to play the game, if you can play the game that way, you know? And you can even cancel into, like, a strike. Like, cancel from a strike into a grapple, which allows you to throw people into walls. And that's the whole game, you know? There isn't anything else to it, you know? And that's not necessarily a good thing, you know? If you want to play, like, a game that's... Because that's the thing, like, I want to play a game that is fun, ultimately. Not a game that's just kind of, like, just tedious brain-dead bullshit, but the game is also really fucking difficult as well, just to top it off. Which just makes things worse, because you're playing a game that's insanely, like, brain-dead in how you're supposed to play it, while also being extremely fucking difficult, and I hate that so much. Whereas Urban Reign is the opposite of that. I mean, yeah, it's difficult, but it's not brain-dead. It's not just spammy bullshit. Like, it's not just a mess, you know? Yet people celebrate Def Jam 5 from New York like it's the second coming of Jesus, and say that if you suck at it, and you're frustrated, it's just because you're bad at it and your opinion is irrelevant. And it's like, fuck you, you know? I'm allowed an opinion here. Like, especially when you have games like Urban Reign, which are actually good, and then you play a game like Def Jam, and it's just utter fucking frustration and annoyance. Like, it really is a frustrating ordeal to get through. And, you know, I don't want to have to deal with that shit. You know, like, there's enough frustrating things in life to deal with than a freaking video game being frustrating as it is. You know? I just don't understand it. It's just like, why do people have to big up these video games just simply for being unapproachable and for the hardcore only? I just don't understand it. I just don't. Like, and yet people look down on games that are, like, for people that play easy mode, like the easy games like Kirby. Oh, you play Kirby, like, it's easy for babies. You know, it's just like, you know, Kirby's fun. I don't care what anyone says. You know, and that's the thing. Like I say, Urban Reign, FCOGS. I S-ranked Urban Reign, and I, like, did every single cup on Masterclass on FCOGX. So obviously there are some games that are hard that I do like, you know, and have been willing to engage in. So you can't just say the reason why I hate the game is because I'm bad at it, because believe me, I was terrible at F-Zero GX when I first started. I played on Novice class because I suck, you know? Now I'm playing Master class because I'm better and I want to enjoy the sensation of having AI that's going to absolutely beat the crap out of me, you know? Because that's kind of what I'm looking for at this point, you know? But, like, you can't always, like, you can't always get, like, you can't, like, always, like, get a good hard experience. Like, if I'm gonna play a hard mode of a game, or harder difficulty, it better be a good fucking game. Like, I'm not even gonna play a game on its hardest difficulty if it's terrible. I'm just not. You know? Like, usually, and this is the thing, if I have to pick an easy mode, usually that's because, and I think that's kind of an argument that people might have, and I'm not gonna lie, I get it. If I have to pick an easy mode, usually it's because the game's mechanics are just so brain dead and stupid, you know? But that's one of the reasons why I played Devil Kings on easy mode, because its normal mode is bullshit. But that way I can actually enjoy Devil Kings and actually play it without being pissed off, because I don't give a shit about whether or not I'm good at Devil Kings. It's a brain dead stupid game, you know? And therefore I would play easy mode. But if you're a brain dead stupid game that doesn't have easy mode, I'm gonna be pissed off, you know? Or has an easy mode that's still stupidly difficult, you know? And that's the thing, you know? People just don't... I'm just kind of sick and tired of all of the... like, how people just look down on people for, you know, sucking at video games or playing easy mode. I'm just tired of it at this point, you know? We need to... like, just accept that people have busy lives and they've got things to do, you know? People have other things in their life than video games, and, you know, they want to enjoy their time. Can you blame them for being bad at them? No. You know? I mean, like, the thing about it is I've played games for over 20 years, you know? But I'm still bad at video games. I've never been good at them. Ever. Oh wow, I got 2 checklists there. Yeah, I've never been good at video games. I've only ever been shit at them. And yeah, that's a problem. Like I've never been good at them, and yeah, I have a bit of insecurity there, I'm not gonna lie. Especially when you're expected to be really good at video games, but I'm not. You know, it's kind of something I'm not particularly proud of, given the fact I've played video games for this long and all of that. Like, I suck so bad at fighting games, man. I just do. Like, I cannot play those games to save my life. You know, so every time, but the thing is, I don't mind picking up a fighting game every now and again and playing it every now and again. This is the thing. I don't necessarily hate fighting games, I just hate the community. You know? The games themselves can be fun. Well, they used to be right when they had tons of features to play, like Soul Calibur had like all these features like that they used to have, and now it's just like, I mean, to be fair, Soul Calibur still has creation modes, and it still has more features than most. Like, used to have like Tekken Force and Tekken and stuff, like, and then they just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna have just the arcade and online now because of that community, you know. And that's the thing, that's the problem. It's the gaming community that's ultimately at fault here, because they encourage this bullshit. They're the people that push for this bullshit to be a thing. You know? And, yeah. Like, we need to have less, like, people being assholes. Like, there's just too many assholes in the gaming community, I swear to God. But I suppose that's any internet community, but, you know, I just kind of, like, when it comes to fighting games especially, I just kind of feel like I'm not allowed to enjoy fighting games, just simply because I'm not good at them, you know? And if I'm honest, that's just kind of the thing. Like, I play fighting games sometimes, you know? And I have fun playing a fighting game, I do. But the thing is, whenever I mention that, and like openly, and say, oh yeah, I like playing fighting games, people just assume that I'm good. And then it turns out I'm a scrub, and then people are like, oh wow, you're just terrible at this fucking game. It's like, you know, and then you have to rub it in, you know? And it's just like, no, I've always been terrible, but I do enjoy playing them every now and again. But then I'll complain because a fighting game doesn't have many single player modes, and people are like, well, that's not the point. Like, fighting games are not for single player. The competitive, hardcore experience is that if you're not playing to win, you're not playing at all. You know, it's all about serious business. And it's like, no, like it's not about just strictly beating other people and being better than other people and competitive bullshit. It's all about watching people beat the crap out of people. You know. But I suppose that's why I like Urban Reign so much, because that's what Urban Reign is. You know, Urban Reign is just beating the crap out of other people. There's no bullshit. You know, there's no, oh yeah, we have to have all this input complexity to seem more deep than we actually are. Like, you know, we don't have to have like a billion moves on every character. We just have a few moves on the character that we have, and, you know, enough to make it fun, and we focus on the stylization and like the cool looking moves instead of just like the pragmatic side of things. Because let's be honest, like, it's not really a balanced game when you have characters like fucking Lin Fong, which is broken as fuck, like, and fucking Shinkai with his freaking, like, specials, like, that allows him to do, like, freaking uppercut, spinning uppercut, which deals a crap ton of damage to anyone that's unfortunate enough to get hit by it, you know, like, yeah, like, the thing is, though, is that the game acknowledges that, and it even has, like, a rating, so you can use lower ranking characters on certain missions if you want to get an S rank to get more points, you know? So it's like, yeah, you can, if you go for the more challenging route, you get rewarded, which is great, you know? But, and that's the thing, I do like it when games do offer more challenging modes, like if you want to play a harder difficulty, yeah. But I hate when games are just hard by default. Like, why do we have to play a game that's stupidly hard by default? Like, there's just nothing. It doesn't make the game more fun or rewarding when I beat a hard game by default and it has like a harder difficulty. It just says, oh wow. Like, then you'll just get people who say, oh, you only beat it on normal mode, beat it on Master Ninja mode, then we can talk, you know, then you can have an opinion. It's just like, that's another thing, like, people saying you didn't beat this game, you're not allowed an opinion. Hell yes, I am allowed an opinion, you know? Just because I didn't beat the game doesn't mean I'm not allowed to complain about its bullshit, because chances are, it's got problems. You know? And I can call it out on those problems, you know? If it's got problems, it needs to be called out. I'm sorry that it does. You know, I'm not going to just like sit there and ignore the fact that this game has issues. No. I'm going to bring up those issues and I'm going to say, you know, the developers need to do work on this. They need to make it better. You know? Oh boy. Destruction Derby 5. This is going to be fun. Yeah, this one has all the... yeah, we're already getting absolutely bodied here. Yeah, this one was a bit tricky. I've got the sword now, so watch out, guys. Oh, hang on. Can I actually get near you? There we go. We hit one person, we haven't killed anything. I'm trying to get near everybody. I mean, you can clearly see that I'm terrible at video games right now, can't you? Because I haven't got a single kill yet, and I'm just trying to actually get one, and it's just like very difficult for me to do. Right, I'll hit him. There we go, we've got a kill there. Yeah, can we, oh, hang on. Yeah, we got a hit, we got another hit, and we get another kill. We got the thunder, we got plasma. Ah. Right, let's see if we can actually hit this bastard over here. I'm lining up for this though. No, we're not going to do this. Yeah, we only got 1 point. That's a bit of a shame, isn't it? Oh, we won! Wow, that's a hard one to do, is that one, boys. That's a really hard Destruction Derby mission. But yeah, I think that's the gist of it, guys. Like, let's not be assholes to people. Let's stop with the whole Git Good nonsense, you know? And I think the worst part about the Git Good nonsense is that it's not helpful in any way. You're just telling people to get good. People want to know how to get good, not to get good. People are going to choose willingly to get good if they want to. And those that want to get good will want to know how to get good, you know, rather than just being told to get good. Nobody needs to get good. Nobody is required to get good at anything. They have to want to get good at it. And if they don't want to get good at it, that's fine. Let them not get good at it, you know? I'm just tired of all the bullshit of people that just treat, like, gamers that suck at video games with, like, contempt. I'm just sick and tired of it. Like, grow up, people. Like, it's a fucking video game, you know? I kind of blame esports for this because it's encouraged this by saying, oh yeah, people get paid to do this. Yeah, the 1%. Which if you are one of these people who says get good, you are not part of that 1% and you never will be. You know, those people chose to spend all their life playing and getting good at video games. You know, not everybody wants that in their life. But that doesn't mean that they're less of a gamer just because they're bad at video games. You know, just because they're bad at video games does not make them less of a gamer. You know, if you're bad at video games, you're not less of a gamer. I suck at video games, but I consider myself a hardcore gamer. Not in terms of my skill at playing video games, but in terms of my knowledge of video games, you know, and my experience with lots of different games. So that's just as important as being, like, good at video games, if you ask me, because you have all this information and knowledge that you played lots of different games, so you have a broader, like, you're more of an all-rounder because you've got a broader, like, knowledge of different types of genres. Whereas a lot of these people who are really good at games, they might have only played, like, 1 or 2 games all their life, you know? And that's the thing. So, you know, enough of this get good bullshit. You know, let people enjoy their easy modes. Let people play easy mode if they want to play easy mode. And stop releasing games without easy mode. I don't care what anyone says about, well, it ruins the game because if you don't have easy mode, then it ruins the balance and it's not like the developers intended. Like, if the developers intend the game to be hard for the sake of being hard, then they need to go back to fucking game design school and probably quit the industry because we don't want those people. I don't want those people. I don't want Miyazaki. I don't want Itagaki. I don't want them. Go away. Go. We don't need you. I don't want you. You are a waste of my time because you don't understand what matters about video games. What matters about video games is not about how hard they are. It's about how they feel. You know? How it feels to actually play the game. And ultimately, when it comes to game feel, the best 3D beat 'em up, well, it's a toss-up, isn't it? But I'm edging closer and closer towards Urban Main. And I'll tell you right now, Ninja Gaiden Black, you ain't up there. You ain't even close to being the best 3D beat 'em up ever made, and you never will be because you have way too much input complexity and way too much bullshit for me to put it up there. Your game doesn't feel good to play. Whereas Urban Main feels like a blast to play, and that's what makes the difference. That's this video over, so yeah, see you guys.